This is Elaine Loring Jass with Time Citizen Communications, and I'm speaking with Iowa Falls School Board candidate and incumbent David Moore II. How are you today?
I'm great.
Great. Let's get right to the questions. Please tell us about yourself.
My name's Dave Moore. My wife's Shelley. She's a teacher over in Alden. I have two boys. David is now a pediatric doctor down in Ames, and my other son works for Campbell Supply, Killian. Both graduates of Iowa Falls High School, and we've been in town here for 20 years. I don't know I guess I'm not sure what other things to say. I've always been an active person from the time I was a little kid till now. I can't think of too many clubs I wasn't in college. I served as a lieutenant governor of a college Kiwanis club in college, and kind of got my feet really wet with leadership at that role. And then always had some sort of leadership positions, either in Boy Scouts or church group, or I was on a youth council to the Methodist Church for the scholarship program. So that was probably my first real school type related activity that I did for schools. But in Independence, I was in everything. We moved here, and the boys were at that age where I kind of got to hide a little bit. So when I ran for school board 10 years ago, that was kind of, the boys were out of school, and they decided it was time not to stop hiding and come back out. So.
Great. So why have you decided to run for school board again?
You know, I'm a very civic-minded person, and it's one of those things I have enjoyed the 8 years working. I mean, granted, if it's one of those things that people felt were better candidates, I'm not going to be disappointed, but at the same time, I've enjoyed my time there. I think I do a good job. I've always been an advocate of the schools, advocate of the teachers, obviously, with my wife being a teacher. I volunteered as an athletic trainer for years. So it's my civic duty and my civic brain that says, hey, why not keep doing it? I enjoy what I'm doing. I think we have a good school board. I think we have a great administration team, and still want to be able to support them and support the community the best I can, and to keep things fiscally sound. And I think we've proved that as a board in the last few years, trying to do all these projects without adding taxpayer dollars. And I just feel it's something I'm still passionate about.
Okay. And what is the role of a school board member?
I mean, basically, I think the big thing is it's the financial stewardship of the community and making sure we're using the taxpayer dollars the best that we feel are needed, and yet provide a quality education and quality opportunities for our kids. Continue to have, support the teachers and do what we need to keep good teachers here. But I do think as a board member too, it's very important for us to be a cohesive team. I've heard of horror stories with division in school boards and they get nothing done. I've always been one of those believe that even though I may not agree with something, if it's 4-1 and that person, and I'm the one that was against it, once we make that motion, once we approve it, then it's my job to support that. And I think that's important for a school board member. Remember, it's not just about you. It's still a board of 5 people.
Okay. What do you see are the top priorities or needs within the school district right now?
I do feel that one of our top priorities has to be our band program. We started this building project basically to kind of lead into a next building project, which better include the new band room. We have a dynamic band program and music program right now, and I think that's very important to support that. And I do think the whole Alden, Iowa Falls, kind of our whole grade sharing, I think that contract comes up soon. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I know it works good the way it is now, and I'm not going to be pushing one way or the other. We'll have to see what comes. But I think those are probably some of the main priorities.
Okay. What challenges do you hope to address if reelected?
Probably real similar things. Challenges will be, probably the biggest challenge will be figuring out what we're going to do with Alden and Iowa Falls together. We moved here after they had already started sharing. So to my wife and I, it's kind of like we've been a school district the whole time we've been here. So we don't see that. We don't see that Alden and Iowa Falls separate like I know a lot of the people here do. So I think that's going to be a challenge, is seeing what we're doing going forward. There's always the financial challenges of all these projects we want to get done. But the way the program works with the SAVE and the Pebble funds, those are funds that we have to use for infrastructure, and I think we're doing a good job with that, with the air conditioning. We had a roof replacement at Rock Run this year. We're doing the building project. We continue to try to do that without increasing the taxes. And so I think that's a challenge. We need to keep trying to figure out, okay, how can we do this and not impact the bottom line of everyone's paycheck?
Okay. How important are fine arts and extracurricular activities such as athletics to a total overall education?
I think it's imperative. I've always been a very big advocate of sports and music. And I sang college choir. I ran cross country in college. I wrestled as a wrestling coach. And I really think for some of the kids, they need that sports that keep them connected to school. I wasn't one of those. I was one that I wanted to be at school because I'd work if I went home. So I think extracurriculars are so needed. I mean, you look at the income people make now on TikTok and different social media apps. It's all marketing, it's all advertising, it's all showcasing your voice or your skill or your activity. So I think it's even probably more important now than it was 20 years ago. Artists, commercial artists are huge. I think some people overlook art as the fine arts, but I think arts is something that maybe is weaker in Iowa Falls from what I see in some of the other strength of the programs, but I think there's room for it, and we have good teachers and good educators for that. It's just a matter of continuing to support those programs, such as band, fine arts, industrial arts, those things, by making their facilities, top notch, and those that are going to be competitive with schools around us and competitive in the market to really make themselves known to the people in this state.
All right, and final question. What role should the community play in supporting the education of children?
I think the role of the community is huge. I think that Tony, the superintendent, has done a great job of sending out surveys to the community and different things like that for different ideas, different challenges. So I think one of the roles that community can do is answer those surveys. If you see that survey somewhere, give us your input. One of my biggest surprises as a school board member is how few phone calls, emails, comments I get. Instead, you see it on Facebook after everybody's belittled it or talked about it. But I have had very few people ever say, okay, so what's really going on here? And I think it's important to the community to find out the facts before they start slandering things or looking at things. I know it's such an easy thing to do anymore. You get on and boom, throw out the information, but really try to educate yourself. And if you don't know the answers, reach out to any of the school board members. The school board members we have right now, and even the administration team, I think they'll be very receptive to you coming in and asking questions. And I think that's an important thing, is that we find the answers. And I think it's up to the community to do that part, because we are trying to watch the finances, but we want the community to be involved, support our programs. The better you support our programs, the more things we get accomplished.
Well, thank you very much for the conversation today, and good luck at the election.
All right, thank you, Lynn.
Today I'm speaking with Joel Weeks, who is running for Iowa Falls School Board. How are you doing today, Joel?
Good.
Good. So please tell us about yourself.
Sure. Joel Weeks. I've lived here in Iowa Falls for the last 13 years with my wife, Madeline. and we have a daughter, Lily, that's in 7th grade at Riverbend Middle School. I grew up in Slater, Iowa, went to UNI for my undergrad and Iowa State for my master's in educational administration. I'm in my 29th year of education as a career, and I've been at the state training school as their school administrator for the last 16 years.
Okay, thank you. So why have you decided to run for school board?
Well, I believe I've got experience in this field, and I feel like it's just another way that I can contribute to our community. I have a vested interest with our daughter in wanting the best for her in the school and also in the community. Iowa Falls is our home, and we want what's best, and I think that a lot of that is tied to our schools.
Okay, so what is the role of a school board member?
Well, the way I see it, and of course I've had a lot of training over the years in the field, but school boards need to set policy, provide oversight. They need to be that connection between the administration and the community. And then their most important job, I believe, and hopefully we don't have to do that for a while, is hire the chief administrator, the superintendent.
Okay. So what do you see are the top priorities or needs in the school district right now?
So again, I understand how school finance works, and our current enrollment is holding steady, but I'm concerned, even if we hold steady, that we're going to have to tighten our belts. And I want to make sure that whatever we do has the least amount of impact on the students in the classroom. So that's one thing that I'm really looking at and concerned about. And then the other is just, I've been on the facilities committee really since its inception way back when, from the bond issue till now. And the district has done a good job of making strides, and the board has done a good job of making strides, but there's still a lot on the list to complete. Ironically, the facilities committee started by talking about a band room, and we still have a band room to address, as well as other places in our district.
Okay. So kind of along those lines, what challenges do you hope to address?
Again, it's working with the administration when we have to make tough choices about what we're going to spend our money on, to make sure that we're trying to do what we can with the least amount of impact on the classroom, and also making sure that we're continuing to push the envelope when it comes to student achievement, and making sure that we're using the best practices out there to help students be successful with their future.
Okay. And how important are fine arts and extracurricular activities such as athletics to a total overall education?
Well, so before I was at the training school, I was a public school principal for 12 years, and as you get to know kids, the classroom isn't always their favorite thing. And I think extracurriculars, whether it's sports or fine arts or even academic clubs, whatever it may be, is just another way that students can shine, that students get to show their talents, and you know, I still think back to somebody I graduated high school with. If it wasn't for high school baseball, he wouldn't have graduated. And he's, you know, knowing him now, he's gone on and had a successful life. I just really feel like it's just opportunities that kids have to show themselves in different ways.
Okay. And last question, what role should the community play in supporting the education of children?
I think we need to always remember that this is a community school district. It's not just the school, that we do need to support, and that is through involvement. And where I work now, I work with a lot of kids who their parents were not involved in their kids' education, and you can see that. The most successful kids we have at the training school are the ones that where their parents are engaged and playing a role in their child's future. And I see that both the parents and the community at large need to support students so they can achieve their goals and move on to be good citizens.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me today, and good luck in the election.
Thank you.
I am speaking with Caitlyn Hston, who is running for Iowa Falls School Board. How are you today, Caitlyn?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
My name is Caitlyn Hston. I am married to Quinn, and we are small business owners in Iowa Falls. I was born and raised in Iowa Falls, grew up here, and went to the University of Iowa. And when we were done with our schooling, Quinn and I decided to move back to Iowa Falls to be a part of this community and to raise our kids. We have 4 children. We have 2 freshmen. We have a 7th grader and a 3rd grader. So 3 different schools in the district currently. I've been a stay-at-home mom, although I feel like I'm never home anymore. I enjoy following my kids in their different activities. I volunteer quite a bit at our church in the children's ministry program, and I like to be active in our community as much as possible.
Great. So why have you decided to run for school board?
I am running for school board because it just feels like the next step in my commitment to Iowa Falls and my community. I have been active throughout the last 10 years in the school district. I have served on the PTO, which is the parent-teacher organization, which supports students and staff in various aspects. I served on the facilities committee, and helped to try to make a plan for our aging facilities, and tried to pass a bond about 5 years ago. I have mentored in our schools. I have substitute taught, I have coached, and I have volunteered in many aspects. So this feels like the next step in being able to continue to be a support system for our administration, to advocate for public schools, and to just continue to serve my community.
Great. So what is the role of a school board member?
I think first and foremost is that the school board member needs to put the priorities and needs of students first. And so that role then extends to being a supportive person to the administration and superintendent, as well as, keeping lines of communication open with the other school board members, the community, and just being financially responsible so that everything we do leads back to our students and benefits them.
Okay, thank you. What do you see are the top priorities or needs in the school district right now?
So as I said before, I served on the facilities committee, and we were trying to get a bond passed for a new elementary school. Our elementary schools right now are aging. I mean, they're near 100 years old or over. It's close. So I think the challenge of having these aging buildings that are needing work and needing updates. I think our current school board has done a fantastic job of prioritizing the needs and making sure through the things they've done, like the addition to the high school, the safe and secure entrance, the air conditioning, different things that they've been able to accomplish these last couple of years is invaluable to our district and to our buildings, but we need to make sure that we continue to keep on top of that, because they're only going to get older, and we need to make sure we're making decisions that benefit the education of the students, so that everything should lead back to the kids. And so that's going to be a challenge, or the priority in the next couple of years is just really looking at that. Beyond that, I am, I don't know. I don't know what our priorities are. I'm looking forward to learning more about what the current school board feels like our priorities should be, and extending off of that if I'm elected.
And a little along that line, what challenges do you hope to address?
So one of the challenges that, I can't specifically address it, but will be that rural schools are declining in enrollment. So that's a big thing. Luckily, I believe Iowa Falls this year actually increased its enrollment. So that's a positive for us. But knowing that that's kind of the trend, is that rural schools are declining, that's where we get our funding from. So the funding is, based on enrollment. So we need to be aware of that and make a plan, knowing going forward, like, if that is to occur, what are we going to have to do? Also, just, how do we retain teachers? How do we get people to want to move to Iowa Falls and stay in Iowa Falls?
Very good. So how important are fine arts and extracurricular activities such as athletics to a total overall education?
I think they're incredibly important. I think they're equally as important as the traditional classes. I feel like kids benefit so much from being involved in extracurriculars, whether it is music or arts or sports. They are able to show off their talents that may not shine in a classroom setting. And they're also exposed to different people, they're exposed to different challenges. And on top of the education they get in a classroom, they get to extend that into these extracurriculars. So, learning some confidence through the things they participate in, determination. They are, there's challenges. They may fail and having to pick back up and go forward. So I think they go hand in hand.
Okay, and final question. What role should the community play in supporting the education of children?
I think the community and education goes hand in hand. I think we have to have, in order to have a thriving community, we have to have successful schools, and vice versa. In order to have successful, thriving schools, we have to have a community that's willing to be involved and engaged in our education process. And I think from what I've witnessed as a parent in Iowa Falls, we have a great partnership with our community. I know there's a couple programs at Rock Run. There's a STEM night, which community organizations come in. There's the Kennel Club, which is an organization to raise money where we invite community members in to come eat lunch. We had Watchdog program, which would invite parents in, which is awesome to get them into the school district. And at the high school level, there's J-Term, which students have the opportunity to go out into the community and learn and do different things, different activities, or and they even have, like, I'm not sure the name, but a job study program, a work study program that kids are going into the community and working. So I think anytime we can partnership with our community, it's going to make both the community and our education better. And I think it teaches kids that they're valued, that when our community's showing up, they're coming to their school events, they're coming to their musical programs, they're coming to the athletic events, they're, homecoming, they're decorating their business windows. I think kids can see that value and say, hey, this community is behind me and supports me, and they're going to want to, maybe someday work here or have their family come back to Iowa Falls. So I think that partnership is, we have to have them working together. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us today, and good luck in the upcoming election.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I am speaking with Carla Damiano, who is running for Iowa Falls School Board. How are you doing today, Carla?
Good, thank you.
Great. So please tell us about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and spent most of my life there. Met Rocky, my husband, and we got married, been married for 28 years. We have 4 children. 2 have already come through the school system, and one's in high school and one's in middle school. I spent most of my life in corporate America, working at a corrugated box facility, and then now my husband and I own Nimrod Meats here in Iowa Falls.
Okay, great. So why have you decided to run for school board?
Well, I feel like at this point in my life, I'm equipped more than ever to run. Kids being partially 2 of them out of school, 2 in school, I've seen a lot coming up through the different schools. I also am very engaged in our community, and I just think that I have some knowledge to bring to the table, and I'm a good listener, and I'm a good problem solver. So, and I have some time, some extra time in my life these days, where before when I had smaller kids, I didn't.
Okay. Okay, so what is the role of a school board member?
I feel like the role of a school board member is a liaison between the community and the school, looking at board policies, writing board policies, rewriting board policies, taking care of anything that comes along as far as a community member has questions or wants to make statements or anything like that. They'll just be the liaison between that. And then also the superintendent role, like hiring and maintaining that position.
Okay, perfect. All right, so what do you see are the top priorities or needs in the school district right now?
I think number 1 is academics. It would probably always be academics, and that's why we're here, is for our students and for our community to thrive. Also transparency. I like to think that parental rights is number 1 also. Well, maybe that's number 2. But there should be a lot of open communication between parents and the school and what their kids are learning. And then spending. It's always nice to have spending under control and just know where those tax dollars are going.
Okay. What challenges do you hope to address?
That's a good question. I'm not privy to all the challenges that go on in the school board, but I do think that that being a school board member, just being a good listener and just knowing what my needs would be as a parent, that can help and go a long way.
Okay. And how important are fine arts and extracurricular activities such as athletics to a total overall education?
Well, we're a pretty sporty family. So I think sports are like huge. And also we have 1 kid right now in band. So that's important too. And I just think it helps to develop the brain. So I would be all for arts, sports, and all of that in the school district.
Okay. And what role should the community play in supporting the education of children?
Since the community pays taxes, they should be more involved than I think some of them are. I've been surprised myself going to school board meetings that a lot of community members don't show up to the board meetings. There's a lot that they talk about. There's a lot of things that you don't know because you don't have the inside information, but I think just being in the know as a community member, I think it's important, and maybe to have some more transparency to the community also as to what goes on. And I know they do a really good job of that right now, but it'd be interesting to know like the other side of it for sure.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today, and good luck at the election.
Thank you so much.